Money. Money. I love that money. Money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. You don't really want to play. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. You don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. And I don't wanna be the one who always really talk about. And you don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Cause money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. Money, 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 make you shut your mouth. Don't never ever talk about it if you never had the clout. You don't know what to say. Stay up out of my way. Money, 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 make you shut them off. Keep playing with this goonies, boy, I'm gonna have to make the call. Stay in bounds on your pivot, boy, if you gon' ball. Cause a lot of niggas be fake, and you really can't play. Cause we done got it out the mud.
Offensively, it hasn't happened a lot for us, so let's see if we can continue.
Blitz coming, the throw, and it's intercepted! And that's going to be a Washington football team touchdown! Bobby McCain!
That's right, people. It's a final victory Monday of the Washington football season. Washington prevails over the New York Giants 22-7 in a game that was dominated by the defense. They definitely had some bulletin board material coming from Joe Judge, talking about some of the things going on with the Washington football team and, you know, the altercation on the sideline that everybody blew up out of proportion. And we actually saw this team respond, not just with words, but actually with play on the field. The defense played very well. Admittedly, it's a bad New York Giants offense, but the fact that they didn't, you know, give up yards to Barkley, you know, we've known they documented during the game, the games that he's had against the Washington football team to hold him to only 27 yards. You know, he's not the same Saquon as before, but we've seen this team sometimes play down to their competition. The backup quarterback that Jake Fromm forced to pick six, two interceptions off of him, which is what you want to see from a defense with this much talent. You want to see them making the other team force mistakes and make errors and take advantage. And the fact that we got a pick six out of it, you know, help get the momentum, keep the momentum on the team side, because it was a tight game. It was 6-0. You know, Giants were still in it. We've seen previously when you let teams stay in the game, it will come back to bite you in the butt later on. But Bobby McCain with the huge play read the quarterback's eyes. They had said earlier that Ingram was one of his favorite targets, and Bobby McCain made a play that definitely swung the momentum back to Washington's favor, or gave it more momentum, I should say, and definitely aided in this victory. But it was definitely on the defensive side of the ball. Jack Del Rio had a good game plan for offense that's stagnant and hadn't scored a touchdown with, 34 drives. And but there's a lot to talk about. I'm not going to be down because it is the last game of the season for the football team. We all, were hoping they would take the next step, make the playoffs 2 years in a row, possibly win the division 2 years in a row. But that didn't happen. The first round, the division victory last year didn't do this team any favors with a tougher schedule. They still managed 7 wins, 7-10 in the first season with 18 weeks and 17 games. They won 7 games last year, but it was a weaker schedule that we had. So, that's one thing that I look at, that, we had a first place schedule and we beat some top teams. We swept the Giants and got swept by the by the Eagles and the Cowboys. But, last year they swept the Cowboys. split with the Eagles account. Giants out the league. So played better competition, won some games, won a 4-game losing streak, 4-game winning streak, 4-game losing streak, and it ends the season breaking that losing streak with the win over the Giants. So happy to say that. Hate going into the season, ending the season on a 5-game losing streak. So that's a win-win for the team. Offensively, I like the fact that they ran the ball. They fed Antonio Gibson. Congrats to him for his 1,000-yard season, first as a running back in the league. He said that was one of his goals coming into the year. He had an up-and-down season with some of the fumbling issues he had earlier in the season. He had one after the bye week. But all in all, second year, converted wide receiver to running back. Everyone doesn't come into the league ready-made. Some people have to develop, and he's learning, as Daryl Johnson was breaking down, he's learning how to set up his blocks. He's learning how to, press the hole, make the defender, you make a decision, and then cut back, put that foot in the ground and bounce. So, it's a rebuild. It isn't going to come instantaneous, and we see players developing. Another shout-out to Terry McLaurin for back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, first player to do it with the franchise since, this is sad to say, 1996 with Henry Eller. Wow. That takes me back. I had just graduated high school the year before. That tells you how long ago that was. It's crazy. But I believe they should be backing the truck up for Terry this offseason. I don't think they're going to let him get to his end of his contract. I think they want to, throw the bank at him, to lock him down. And was talking to somebody else online earlier about the big decisions going to be on the defensive line. If you just lock down Allen, I believe Leonidas, his extension is almost up. You got Sweat coming up for a deal. You got Payne coming up in a couple of years for a deal. You got Tim Settle playing well off the bench. You got some of the rookies got in, and made some plays today. So they're showing you that, we got depth. You got Casey Toohill. So it's going to be some interesting decisions in this offseason, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. That's towards the end of the show. Let's talk about this game. I got my Facebook live feed going. I got my YouTube live feed going. So any questions, comments, or anything, I'm going to try to get to them. I'm running the show by myself right now. And we got a lot of interesting games going on still with playoff implications. I know Pittsburgh and Baltimore were in overtime, both of them fighting for their playoff lives because the Colts laid that egg, and all they can do is beat Jacksonville to make the playoffs, and Jacksonville put a thumping on them today. And Pittsburgh and Baltimore, I believe, is still mathematically alive. Pittsburgh, if they win, I believe they're in. You also have the Arizona Seahawks game going on. Arizona's fighting for their playoff positioning. I believe they're still in the hunt for moving around and seeding. They're tied 7-7 with the Seahawks right now in the first quarter. So got a lot of action going on in this first week 18 of the football season that we've ever had. And next week I heard we have a 3-day weekend of wild card football. So got some good times coming along. Unfortunately not for the Washington football team because their season is over. But like I said, we went in on a good note. Let's go over some of these stats. Taylor Heineke, 9 for 18, 120 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, with a 71.5 quarterback rating. I guess I'll go ahead and give my critique on Heineke after his season of starting at quarterback. We saw some good, we saw some bad. We spoke about him being a gunslinger. You're going to get some, bad throws, some interceptions, and times that you definitely don't want him. But all in all, he's a quality quarterback. Is he a starter? I don't know. Does this team have time to let him develop, go into camp, and try to fight for the starting job if they don't see what they like in free agency or the quarterback draft? I'm not sure what the draft looked like. We'll talk about that later on in the offseason when I have my college guys come on because I have no idea what's going on in the college football world. So, but he's definitely, has the skill. I think his height, we saw towards the end of the season, more balls were getting deflected because the I believe Dujanay spoke on it earlier in the season with those timing plays when he's just taking a boom, boom step and throwing. And, the defensive lineman will pick up on that knowing they're not going to get home. And with his height, we've seen more ball deflections the last couple of weeks. We saw a couple of pick sixes against Dallas because of that. Arm strength is I can't say it's an issue because, like, when Big Hurt was on the show, we talked about it when he's on the 50-yard line, either, the 40, 45 on either side of the 50, he's going to throw that fade route. He has the arm strength for certain passes, but he doesn't have it for those quick outs and those dig routes where you got to, zip it in there and get it through the outstretched defender that's in that zone window. So, I mean, all in all, he definitely can be a stopgap for this team until they figure out what quarterback, if there's a quarterback this year they're going to go after in free agency or the draft. But I think Taylor Heinicke he has another year on his contract, so he's, 9 out of 10 going to be here along with Kyle Allen. I believe he has another year under his contract. And Fitzpatrick's contract is up, so we'll see what they do if they're going to bring in another free agent because Fitzpatrick didn't even last a half. And see where we go. I know a lot of folks are, mad and upset that we haven't got a franchise quarterback yet. I understand, but it's nothing you can rush into. A franchise quarterback is nothing you just find, just looking out there. You got to research, make sure it's the right fit, make sure he has the tools, make sure, it's a lot of boxes to check to get that franchise quarterback. Jake Fromm for the Giants, 15 for 31, 103 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions with a 40.1 quarterback rating. And I said, inept Giants offense definitely aided in the defense playing like they did. Antonio Gibson, MVP of this game in my book, 21 carries, 146 yards with a 7-yard average and a touchdown. Saquon Barkley, 11 carries, 30 yards with a 2.7-yard average, no touchdowns. I gave a shout out to Gibson earlier. Congrats on the 1,000-yard season. I'll share the show later on. I'm not even going to try to do all that right there. Somebody said I should share it, but I'll share it later on. Gibson, I like what he did his second season. Like I said, you got to improve on the fumbles. Can't have those. Jared Patterson, he got in there and last week started when Gibson couldn't go. Got some good go this week. Jonathan Williams, he had some impressive runs today. So like what the running back stable looks like. Still could use that change of pace back, that speedster. Gibson can be that, but you want Gibson to be more of the, I know people are going to hate to say it, the Christian McCaffrey prototype. The man had 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving in one season. Now, if you can get that type of production out your running backs and you have a wide receiver like Terry McLaurin and, they get somebody else in here, hopefully Samuel will come back next year healthy and show why he got that contract. There's a lot of doubters and folks say that he didn't deserve that contract, but, this definitely wasn't a feather in his cap this season, not really getting on the field because of that groin injury. I said earlier they should have shut him down for the whole, once it got to week 7, 8, we hadn't seen him. I say they shut him down for the whole year, let him get back healthy, get the training camp 100% next year, acclimated to the playbook, ready to rock and roll. But, he didn't play that much this year anyway, so hopefully he was resting and getting that groin right and whatever other issues he had going on because, that 3-year, $35 million contract there, that's something that's on the books. Wide receivers. Terry had 4 catches, 93 yards with 23.3 average. Slayton for the Giants had 2 catches, 29 yards, 14.5 yard average, and a touchdown that they scored. Shout out to Terry, as I said earlier, 1,000-yard season, back-to-back, putting in work with the many different quarterbacks that he's had to go through in his short, yet quarterback-heavy career. And he's a constant pro. Got to give him a shout-out for that hit on the almost interception in the first half where he didn't give up on it. hit the dude pretty hard, knocked the ball out, so he didn't complete the play. He's all around, play a lot of, these gloom and doom fans, talking about, he's not going to resign and he should go somewhere else. He'll be great, all this and that. He's enjoying his time and he's playing well. I feel like he's going to resign. If he doesn't, but I don't feel like it's going that way. I haven't seen any signs or heard anything from my people at the park that that's going to happen. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the wide receiver. Cam Sims, Heineke missed on the touchdown. Would have been touchdown in the first drive of the game. Threw it a little high. That's one of the other issues with Heineke, throwing high constantly. We've seen our quarterbacks previously with that issue, throwing the ball high, getting players, putting them in bad positions and risking injury. So, yeah, Cam Sims, you got Diami Brown, who definitely, in my opinion, from everything that I heard from, college scouts and from, he was the steal of the draft. I can't agree with that. But as I said, sometimes it takes, a season or 2 or 3 sometimes for wide receivers to get the NFL niche. I mentioned earlier in the, when we did the draft recap, that from the tape that I saw, I felt like his route running was nice, but it definitely needs some improvement coming to the NFL. He wasn't going to get the competition that he got at North Carolina that he's getting in the NFL. So that's definitely something to look at with the receiver spot. We know Turner likes to throw the ball. All in all, Scott Turner, I got to give him a C on this season. His first full season of being an OC, game planning, schemes, and all of that stuff, dealing with the adversity with the injuries, the COVID stuff. I just don't like the pass-heavy, third and short. You always in shotgun. Like, come on, man. Sometimes you just got to line up and eye back and just run the ball down folks' throat, which we saw him do today on 4th down. But sometimes you got to do it on 3rd down. You don't want always have to get the 4th down. Some can have a lineman can slip. Timing is off. Defensive lineman time to snap perfect. And you don't get that 1st down because you're on 3rd down and shotgun. But in this game, like I said, he was feeding the ball to the running backs. He didn't ask Taylor to do too much. He only threw the ball 18 times. I lost track of how many rushes we had, but they ran for over 226 yards today. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into the team stats because I don't want to keep it too long. Like I said, we got some interesting football going on. For playoff implications, you got the Rams up 3-0 on San Francisco in the 1st quarter with about 2 minutes left. Got Carolina up on Tampa Bay 7-0 in the 1st quarter, 3rd and 20 for Carolina. He tried to get the 1st down. DJ Moore leaped out of bounds, but unfortunately came up short. And I'm trying to see the results of that Pittsburgh-Baltimore game. I saw that one was with less than 2 minutes left, and they were still tied. Oh, looked like the Steelers won in overtime, 16-13. And I think that might secure them a spot in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. So, wow, Baltimore. It killed me. Lamar Jackson, my fantasy football quarterback. So I've been watching Baltimore. Yeah, it definitely hurt my playoff chances. I'm already out of the playoffs. Consolation game is still getting my butt beat. It's rough. The Titans held on. They Texans tried to come back. They held on. Jaguars upset. The Lions upset the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love was the quarterback for the Packers. They have a 1st-round bye to the top seed in the NFC. Bills up 7-0 on the Jets. And let's see what else we got. Saints up 7-3 on the Falcons 1st quarter. So, all right, let's go through the team stats and I'll give my quick synopsis of the season and my choice words for some of these gloom and doom fans going into the offseason and next year. And talking about the logo reveal. 1st downs, Washington had 16, New York had 10. 3rd down conversions, Washington was 3 for 13. The Giants were 6 for 17. 4th down conversions, Washington was 1 for 1. The Giants were 2 for 4. Rushing the ball, Washington ran for 226 yards. New York, 94 yards. And if you heard that stat earlier when they were talking, yes, Washington only gave up 100-yard rushing game to a running back all season. So we saw the run defense last year was an issue early in the season, and they got it fixed later in the season, well, we can at least hang the hat on the run defense standing up all season, no matter who was in there. And we lost Chase Young early. Sweat was out for a while with the broken jaw. He didn't play today. I believe he had a death in the family. So, yeah. You got to look at some of the positive things. You can't always look at the negative. That's what being a fan is about. Even kill, not always harping on the negative and bad stuff. Passing the ball, both teams dreadful. Washington only passed the ball for 99 yards. Giants for 83 yards. Total yards, Washington 325. Giants 177. Washington had 2 sacks. Giants had 3. 2 turnovers for the Giants, none for Washington, which is always a good sign and a good recipe for winning, forcing turnovers and not turning the ball over. And they led the game in time of possession with 32 minutes and 17 seconds, with the Giants having the ball for 27 minutes and 43 seconds. So all in all, a good game for the Washington football team. We hoped it meant more, with the 5 division games at the end of the season. We thought this game would mean more going into the playoff push, but unfortunately not. And I'm not really mad at that. I know a lot of fans and folks are, but it's a process. It's not going to be instantaneous. Yes, some teams can make that turn quickly. But as all you gloom and doom fans always whine about, this franchise is different and there's been a lot of dysfunction for a long time. Why are you comparing our franchise with another franchise and thinking the same thing is going to happen if you do X, Y, and Z the same way? That's not how the NFL works. We're going through a total rebuild. They rebuilt the front office first. Then they're doing it through the players in the draft. Now they have a foundation. Now they're building off and adding the pieces that's missing. That's how you build a winner. Yes, other teams get there quicker and do it faster, but they've had other things in place, so they didn't have to do the total rebuild like they did. They had a foundation already, and they're just building on top of it, like Daryl Johnston spoke about Buffalo. So it takes time, and especially with a franchise that's gone through some of the craziness and dysfunction that we've gone through over the last 20 plus 30 years or whatever. It's not going to be a quick fix. It's not going to be fixed in 2 seasons. You have to give it time to work. I know you're frustrated. I know you want victories. I know you're tired of, going in, double-digit loss seasons and not making the playoffs. But they're trying to do it the right way. It's like a relationship. You can't bring the baggage from the old relationship into the new. Some of y'all gloom and doom fans are like abused spouses. Maybe y'all need to leave because I don't see no positive post from you about this team when they won a 4-game winning streak. You were still complaining and bitching about stuff. So maybe it's time for you to leave. The Washington Redskins are no longer. Maybe you were a fan of the Redskins and not a fan of the new organization. Look at it that way. Because honestly, I'm tired of hearing y'all whining. I'm tired of seeing y'all post online. If you don't like what's going on, leave. You say you're a fan, but you have nothing positive to say. And when something as big as the logo change comes up, oh, they're going to screw that up somehow. Why are you even here? It doesn't make sense to me. Roll. If you're going to be a fan, be a fan. I'm a fan, but I'm also level-minded and see both sides of it. Not always going to be the gloom and oh, it's the Daniel Snyder curse, oh this, oh that. Really? Then why are you even rooting for the team? Just because you want to be negative, just because you want to have something negative to talk about online and whine about, that's cool. I just start dropping you because I ain't got time for it. If you're a fan of the team, you understand, well, most importantly, you have to understand football. And I realize a lot of fans don't understand football. So I can chalk that up. But week in, week out, day in, day out, really why? I don't get it. That's just my soapbox for the end of the season going into next year. It's a new franchise name coming on the 2nd of February. If you were a fan of the Washington Redskins and you're not a fan of the Washington football team for the last, 2 years going forward, this is your time to leave. New franchise, new name. You're not a Redskin fan anymore. Choose another team. If not, See what happens. It's called a rebuild for a reason. You've been crying for years. And now that we're trying to go through it, you're crying about it because it's taking too long. Can't have it both ways. This is not mad. Rest in peace. You don't just push a button and, put some cheat code in and everything works out. It ain't like that. So, all of you gloom and doom fans, if you're not happy, this is your time to leave. The season is over. The Washington football team, the Washington Redskins, no longer exist. This is your chance to go bye-bye. Throw away all your memorabilia, all your old stuff, or keep it. Do whatever you want to do. But just make a clean break or learn to look forward and stop looking backwards and talk about what went wrong or what isn't right. We're in a new regime here. It's not perfect. I've had some issues with Ron. I've definitely had some issues with Jack. I'm definitely going to talk about Jack. Talked about Scott already. I'm not ready to throw the towel on him. We've gotten rid of too many talented offensive coordinators that are now, as I'm watching the game right now with Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay coaching against each other. You got Matt LaFleur, who was here as a quarterbacks coach with the number 1 seed at Green Bay with the first round bye going to the playoffs. Sometimes it takes time. You can't always just quickly fire somebody and say, oh, bring somebody else and they can fix it. And then if they don't fix it in the timetable that you want, oh, get rid of them. We need to bring in this. Come on, dog. You got to give it time, man. Got to give it time. Let's see. What else did I want to touch on? Oh, yeah, Jack Del Rio. Might as well touch on Mr. Del Rio. I'm not understanding the Jack Del Rio we're seeing here that we didn't see elsewhere. I see no creativity. I see no, intricate game plans that's meant to confuse the other team's offense. Took him too long to make adjustments in the season. I know he had a lot of new pieces in there, wanting to get pressure with the front four, but it shouldn't have took you to the bye week to make that adjustment, to start blitzing and doing stunts and twists, the stuff that we were calling for week in and week out that we weren't seeing. But as you see with prime example, the Cowboys, with their pass rushers, they put them all over the place, over the guard, over the center, right tackle, left tackle. Where do we put ours at the same time? Same positions, right tackle, left tackle. This goes back to last season. This goes back to the last coaching regime here, defensively. I don't care who the coordinator was. It was always vanilla. There was never any creativity. It was all everybody in the same spot at the same time. Okay, we need a quarterback. Sometimes you got to scheme things up. And to me, I don't know if, the game's passed him by or you got other stuff going on, but I didn't see that same adjusting. I know we lost a lot of players with injuries and we had that COVID outbreak that, limited personnel and brought in people that, hadn't been taking snaps on the regular and they weren't the same unit. I get that. As an ex-offensive coordinator, I get that. But there are things you can do to put your players in a position to make plays and to win. And I didn't see him doing that enough this season to put his defense in a position to win with as much talent as they have. We should have seen more consistency. And to one of my gloom and doom fans, you talking about the Cowboys. Yes, Quinn's been there for 1 year and he's made a huge impact. And that's what this defense needs. And I don't know, like I said, if Coach's friendship with Jack, is impeding on it, but the fact that Del Rio came out in an article and said that he felt like, it was no doubt that he'd be back next year. After the 2 seasons of inconsistent. Last year, I chalked up with the COVID, no preseason, no training camp. I was like, okay, they got things right later on in the year, boom, boom, boom. But having training camp and preseason and the way the defense came out, and he didn't adjust when he should have, and you can't have that as a coordinator. Same thing with Turner. You saw adjustments, but then he would regress back. That's my biggest thing with him. It's consistency. In the 4-game winning streak, you running the ball, controlling the time possession, controlling the trenches, and in the 4-game losing streak, you throwing the ball more than you running the ball, and using an excuse that we're not getting big plays. Well, we weren't getting big plays on the 4-game winning streak. He was pounding and wearing down the other defense, and then later in the game, that's when the big runs came. We saw big runs today early. So, yeah, there's still work to do. There's still work to do. And that's simply what it comes down to. It's still work to do. It's not a finished product. It's year 2, going into year 3 with a crucial offseason. That's what's going to be the most crucial to see with the quarterback situation, free agency situation. We got plenty of room under the cap, but we got some contracts that definitely going to get looked at. Landon Collins is for one. I figured he would be a salary cap casualty before the season. He played well. We put him in the box, but couldn't stay healthy to play the whole season, and liability and coverage. So we'll see how this thing goes in the off season, because I'm definitely anxious to see how it goes, because this team is building. They have a foundation. They have a plan. They have a football guy as the coach that knows what he's doing. So let's just see how things go. Ride it out. As always. Oh man, I missed some comments. Wow. Let's see. Robbie said become a Ravens fan and deal with the heartache that was today. Yeah, they were playing so well early. Like I said, I had Lamar's my quarterback. Next thing I know, it was crazy. All right. Yeah, I'm about to get ready to get out of here and enjoy some of these games and get me something to eat. Like, we got a lot of good football left. Wild card weekend coming up next weekend. Unfortunately, Washington won't be a part of it, but as always, we'll still, give a brief breakdown of the playoffs going through. Tune in tomorrow night, Sports on the Hill podcast. We'll be recapping Capitals. Last 2 games were, last night was, first game was 5-1 loss. I saw the first goal and then turned to look at something else and forgot to turn the game back on, so it was a 5-1 loss. And they had a good start to the game yesterday, had a fluke goal on the delayed penalty, and Minnesota found a way to win in overtime. Still got a point, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. I believe there's a live game, I believe also. Then we'll also talk more about this Washington football team game. I'll see if either Dugenay or Big Hurt might be on tomorrow to get a synopsis of the season and talk about the upcoming off season and some of the playoff matchups that's coming up after this weekend is over. And then, as always, they'll have the NBA roundtable recapping the Wizards week that was, and looking forward to see what they're trying to, get it together, stay in the playoff race with that great start that they had. And then make sure you don't forget to tune in to At the Bar Radio in about an hour. I won't be on tonight. I'm taking a night off. Got some other things going on. I got that vaccination shot. Took me down for a couple of days and just getting back right. But hope everybody being safe. Had a good new year. I wasn't on Sports on the Hill last week, but I'll definitely be on this week. Make sure y'all stay safe. Enjoy the rest of the games. And I'm ending the show, as always, with some independent music since the last post game of the season. I normally don't do it, but I'm going to play a couple of Renegade tracks, as always. Go check out the website, sportsothp.com, for all the content. Videos, lives, highlight videos, podcasting partners, apparel line. See, I got the new hats coming. I just got in. Hit me up. Appreciate the support all the time. Like I said, check out At the Bar Radio. Check out the apparel line. Looking for a new or used vehicle, come on down to Waldorf Honda. Selling cars, 2450 Crane Highway, Waldorf, Maryland. I'll be there early tomorrow. Probably almost open to close. And just stay tuned. Appreciate the love. Appreciate y'all checking us out. And another great football season on Sports on the Hill podcast, season 6. DC Sports about the politics. It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just a motto. It's what we do. CP3, live for the lad, and I'm out.
I was down, now I'm really about to go get up. 10 rounds, now that nigga can't get up. That's what you get when you go fuck with the vision. My money be piling, we don't do division. The Feds be watching, I just gotta get up. I was just down, now I'ma get up. Sleeping on me, I bet that they get up. My money was low, but now I'ma get up. Oh, bet that we get up. Pushing this weight, I'm doing sit-ups. I was just dirty, now I got my fit up. Too good for these bitches, I bet they gon' miss us. And I pack a bag if you think that I'm trippin'. I keep this shit brisk, like I'm sit-lipped on. Even though niggas don't know what to get on. You ain't shit, till your niggas gon' get on. Get you some pack, go make a flip homes. Yeah, I'm stuck in my bad ways. Niggas always beating burnt out, so I dip them all in the ashtray. I don't understand these niggas that just always talking about, yeah, they past ways. I don't understand these bitches always comparing me to they past days. I give a fuck about you, you give a fuck about me. I just be rapping for money, you be rapping for free. Feel like that I rap like a god, the reason they call me a G. I'm against all of these odds, niggas ain't fucking with me. Never no worries, Hakuna Matata. They say that I'm hot cause the devil with Prada. I'm soldier boy first and these niggas gon' follow. Catching them feelings, you catching these hollows. Ride with Rodriguez like I fuck with Rollo. Ain't got no time when I see this Movado. Bet that bitch shine like I'm in Monte Carlo. Looking at me like I done hit the lotto. Counting your last days, get hit up. Talking that trash, hey, on Twitter. Your bitch, she be bad, yeah, I'm with her. When she see me, her face be lit up. Boy, better go ahead and mind your business. I don't go back and forth like tenor. Run this game, I don't get no finna. But we bout to get up. 10 rounds, now that nigga can't get up. That's what you get when you go fuck with division. My money be piling, we don't do division. The feds be watching, I just gotta get up. I was just down, now I'ma get up. Sleeping on me, I bet that they get up. My money was low, but now I'ma get up. Oh.
Crank it up, Pedro.
I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in the feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweating my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital day. Ain't been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stage. I could never ever live in the past. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in the feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweating my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital day. Ain't been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stage. I could never ever live in the past. But I dish it like I give it and go. Counting money while I chill at the stove. How I deliver, I've been at the dough. It's up to you how business will go. That 36 I get for the look. Count it up, no feelings will show. Spend so much, gotta get it some more. When they hands out, I just give them a no. How they always talking about me, but a nigga stand out. Watch out how you really walk up to me, that's a man down. All these niggas got these drums with them like a band now. I've been doing what I want, that's what you can't doubt. I've been just feeling myself. Do I just really need help? I got my weight up. I be just telling myself I got love for all of my dogs. I take a pay cut. Some niggas really gon' ride. Some niggas really gon' slide. So go say a prayer. We ain't never gotta slap 5. Nigga, just pay your tithes and call me the mayor. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in her feelings. She giving me sex. I got a slack, sweating my ass. Count up on a move. That's a digital day. Ain't been just losing. I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stage. I could never ever live in the past. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in her feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweating my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital day. Ain't been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stage. I could never ever live in the past.
What's up? What's up, man?
Seriously?
I've been calling your phone all day. Listen. I'm in the booth. I'm gonna call you back as soon as I'm done. Give me like 10 minutes.
What do you mean you're gonna call me back? Like, I've been calling you all day. It's been hours. Like, what are you doing?
I know it's your birthday. My apologies. Give me 10 minutes, babe. I'm gonna call you right back.
No, you with them girls, aren't you?
I know you with them girls.
Ain't no damn girls in here.
So let me see then.
You gonna do that? You gonna do that to me in front of Chill?
Won't be in the fellas.
You got me waiting on my birthday, so let me see.
Yeah, no problem. Fellas, say hello. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
We working. That's working hard though.
Hey, listen. Hey, give me an hour. I'm gonna call you real quick. Calm down. Relax. I got you.
Hurry up.
Scream, we never talk, and I never get a chance to say